We are the cast of Alex Mack, and you are watching Flashback tonight. Please subscribe to the channel.
Do it, brothers.
From beautiful North Hollywood, California, it's Flashback Tonight starring Delia's. Tonight's guests are celebrating the 20th reunion of their hit Nickelodeon show. The cast of The Secret World of Alex Mack is here.
They had the #1 show on Nickelodeon from 1994 to 1998. And now it's their 20th anniversary and there's talks of a reboot. Put your hands together for the cast of The Secret World of Alex Mack. Wow, so you guys aren't kids no more, huh?
I know, all grown up.
You're all grown up, looking good and everything.
Thank you.
So tell me what everyone really wants to know. So you guys went off in the #1 spot back in 1998. Who goes off the air at #1? What happened?
Man.
Well,
Who was it? Who messed it up?
I'll tell you like this. It was a collective decision. Everybody, growing up on TV as a kid, you want to be a kid. You want to, like anybody, start to experience adulthood, right? And so when you shared your childhood with the whole world, you kind of want to now grow up on your own and discover yourself. So when the executive producers brought us all into the office and said, hey guys, we can go another 3 seasons, or you guys can go and be adults and go to college. Some kids like Larissa wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
Some like myself wanted to go and do entrepreneurship and give back to my community. And people like Jason went on and produced and became a big director.
Yeah.
And Natanya just became the hottest hottie in Hollywood, like she always been.
praise God, yes.
So what do you think about when you look at the old shows? You look at yourself on TV as kids and all that. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I look at some of my hairstyles and I'm like,
It's the 90s hairstyle.
girl, what were you thinking? It's actually really special. We've gone back and watched a lot of the show recently because of all the stuff with the reunion and all the exciting stuff that's coming up. So we've had to kind of go back and refamiliarize ourselves with this show too, and it's so nostalgic. It's so nostalgic for us.
So there's talks of a reboot, obviously. Whose idea was this about getting back together 20 years from
I'm
now?
gonna take that. I'm gonna take it.
What did you do? Did you call everybody and say, hey, let's do this again?
So what happened was someone had reached out to me on social media about another project I was in, and it had re-aired on television, and said, hey, have you guys ever thought about doing a reboot or at least a reunion for Alex Mack? And I reached out to Darius, who I've stayed friends with the whole time, and we reached out to Jason, and a few of us got together on a Sunday and sat and talked literally for like 5 hours, and the next thing you know, we're filming this incredible reunion at Universal Studios. And, and here we are,
The best part, we were actually standing in Universal Studios doing a technical rehearsal, and here comes the extra TV crew, and we made it on extra that day, just rehearsing for the reboot. And next thing you know, you start hearing about all of these other shows that are going in the reboot.
Everybody.
Everyone.
Everything 90s is now new again, right?
Yes.
That's right.
We say
That's
the
right.
90s are back. That's our hashtag.
Yes.
So 90s are back, all right?
Yeah.
Right? Can we get some love?
Yeah.
So the last time we saw Alex Mack on the very last episode, we saw her contemplating whether or not to take this potion that's going to strip her of her powers, and then it goes away.
Yes.
So what do you think? Do you think she took it or no? Is she
Well,
if she took it, I don't know if there'd be a reboot,
I
right?
mean, does she got to get like almost run over by another truck again at the same?
Well, you remember she
True.
didn't take she didn't take the serum. Yeah, she didn't take the serum. If anybody remembers, she didn't. And the thing about it was that that show had just as a big of a child audience as adults.
Yeah.
Because not only could you sit there and watch it with your children, you could watch it as an adult and be entertained because of the topics that children were involved in.
Yeah, that's so true. I found myself, I think in that year, I'm dating myself. You know when you start something and you're like, oh, shut up, D, don't say it. Damn. I was 21 at the time, but I was still watching shows on Nickelodeon
Yeah.
and like all that and all that. So
Yeah.
I was part of
Yeah.
that, adult people that were still watching those shows. So.
Yeah, and we get that a whole lot too, of just a whole lot of people coming up and going, oh my gosh, we loved you in the 90s.
Yeah.
They now have kids. So that's where this whole talk of the reboot would come back.
Yeah.
So we've got an interesting spin and twist on things, and we can't divulge too much, but we're so grateful for our fans, and there is something good coming.
Okay, well, what's happened to your characters? If you had to, I mean, this doesn't have to be what it is. I'm
Right.
just hypothetically speaking,
Right.
if you came back in 20 years, what happened to the characters? How'd they evolve? What are they doing now?
You want to start?
Sure. Raymond Alvarado, since he was in the music business, would be ideally a Puffy, P. Diddy Combs of the music industry,
Yes.
with a little slash of like a tech investor, entrepreneur. So he was like trying to figure out cool devices that help enhance his best friend's secret powers.
Okay.
On the low, like with a tech firm, notoriety.
You haven't thought about this, have you? I'm like, well, I was like hypothetically saying, no, this is what I thought. What is your character doing, Latanya?
So I'm just gonna keep it real. I've definitely thought about this, and we've all had quite a few meetings talking about stuff like this. So I think that Robin Russo would now be the big tattoo artist of Paradise Valley. I mean,
Yes.
kind of the Kat Von D of her town, and yeah, just doing big things with the tattoo gun.
Jason?
Which is good. Yeah, so I was Alex Mack's first crush on the show, and my girlfriend on the show was Jessica Alba. So she got her start on this show,
Yep.
Jessica Alba. So for all those Secret of Alex Mack fans, they really know that, but this was the first show. So for me, I played the jock. So we're kind of thinking my character would go back. He's still that good, that wholesome character that helps the community, but is also the PE coach for the local Paradise.
Now, how old were you on the show at the time?
Yeah, so I was a little older, actually, than them. I just looked a lot younger, but I was just a little older. I was 16, 17, and 18 on the show.
Did you get to make out with Jessica Alba?
Oh, wow. Yeah, so
Did you
number one
really?
question. So I got my...
You got to make out with Jessica Alba?
So yeah, my first on-screen kiss on Nickelodeon was with Jessica Alba.
It don't get better. It just don't.
It doesn't.
Right.
I just got about 1,000 views on that comment.
It's our number one asked question for my character, and
Yeah.
I'm humbled by it because her parents and her, just amazing people. And that's what was so great about the pulse of our show. And that's why we think it would be so relevant now, is that there was so much diversity on our show that wasn't even looked at, but was so accepted.
Yeah.
There was something there in the 90s that, especially on this show, that really, we get all these fans that were like, I was bullied, this show helped me through that.
Yeah.
I've been hurt, this is what happened. Words were said to me, racial words, and like Alex Mack was best friends with Ray.
Yeah.
And there was this time in there with that I just think it would be great to raise up a whole new era of people. We're all part of one race, that's the human race, and I think that's important.
Now, I know a lot of teen stars from back in the day where, everybody hung out with each other back in the 90s and all that. You guys, you've been around each other 24/7, evenings, day, cast, what you call it. Who hooked up with who?
Oh, hey.
Who hooked up with who?
No one on this stage.
Nobody on this stage?
No.
To be quite honest, it was a trip because I had like the car, right? And like I would drive Natanya to like all of these cool hangouts. Like she knew Andrew Keegan. She knew like all of the
does this
teams.
every time.
So you hooked up with Andrew Keegan?
No.
That's what I heard.
But here's what's so cool about when you say it's a family knit. I would go, young black male from Watts, okay, to her house. Her mother would let me go into her room, okay?
It's true.
Seriously. And I mean, the mother has so much trust in knowing that I loved her as my sister.
Yeah.
And I would drive her to wherever she wanted to go to hang out with these guys, and I'd be like, this is my sister. And I'm like, you're the dude from Alex Mack. No, I'm her brother right now. I'm her security. So go ahead and try it if you want. We don't play that, because Mom told me to look out for her daughter.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of like upbringing we had, because all we had was each other as kids. We could relate.
It's true.
Yeah. That's the safe answer. Ain't nobody said there's no Brady Bunch mom hookup, nothing like that going on? No? Okay. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you.
And you know, we were really ahead of our time too, especially back then in that time of the 90s. I really feel like this show was super prolific for its time. Like Jason was saying, you know, we saw, our show was so diverse. And it was so cool because it wasn't even spoken about. It was what it was. And that really shaped who we got to be as an adult, because we were taught at a really young age that when you love somebody, and you don't see color, you don't see any of that, you just love them for who they are. And that's how all of our families treated each other too. So that's how my mom treated Darius. That's how Darius's family treated me. That's how my family treated Jay. That's just who we were. And it's carried to this day.
And it came off in our character and our performances. I think people really believe we were friends. Like we really were. And we really were.
So you guys pretty much hung out after the show went off the air. You guys continued to hang out.
I taught Jessica Alba how to skateboard.
It's true.
We went to Raging Waters. We would go to Magic Mountain. We filmed in Valencia. We would go to Magic Mountain because as kids, we're busy being adults working, and our time was different when we get off of work. What other kids could be up at 6 or 7 and say they're just off of work? So we had to find a way to still balance the both, you know, adulthood and childhood. So all we had was each other.
That's true.
I keep hearing this Jessica Alba thing. Does anyone have her number? What's going on with that? Can we get her here?
Right? I know. No, so Jessica's obviously, you know, went on to do a lot of really great things. You know, and she speaks volumes in all different kinds of communities that she's in. And there's actually producers of ours, you know, some things that are going on that we want to reboot and do some things that still know her to this day as well and still have good communication with her.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Well, there's a chance maybe we could all get back together, and we're just, you know, praying on that and just seeing what we can do. But really, if we do it, we really have all come together saying, as long as that message is still there, as long as this is going to honor the fans, literally, we still all to this day get so many flooded emails and DMs, they call them now, right? You know, these messages. And honestly, we just want to tell you guys, like, we read them, we love you guys. We have the Secret World of Alex Mack, the 20-year reunion on YouTube. That's the page that we did. We filmed that up here. And
please subscribe to it. And more importantly, the reason why the 20-year reunion actually took place at City Walk live on the stage was because In the Light Productions went all out to actually go and make this happen, and every single cast member was there except Jessica Alba because she had just had her newborn. So everybody's involved in it. Everybody is like seeing this new era of reboot in the 90s coming back, and all of the fans were the reason for this happening. It was a fan that contacted Natanya and said, hey, you know, Alex Mack, why aren't you guys doing something about that? Because you look at it, the X-Men and Marvel, now the time of people having superpowers or doing supernatural things is relevant. It's accepted to the audience. So why not pick up and say, hey, this kid that had it is now an adult with it, tackling adult issues and doing some good with it. And so it's real. It's a still living live organism thanks to you all.
And In the Light Productions is your production company, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so gratefully that's what I'm up to nowadays. I own In the Light Productions, and you know, I'm a director now. I actually don't really act as much anymore as I did then, and that's why it was kind of like this really great way of collaborating together. And I really know some of the nuances of how to set that production, how to get that editing team, how to get that, you know, the virtual effects going for it. So
you paid attention on the set.
We paid attention a lot on the set.
You sucked all that in.
Yes, and you know, and it kind of built who we are nowadays. So it's great. Now I can come back with my brothers and sisters and say, hey, listen, whatever you guys need, like, I want to bless you guys in your careers. If you want to act and do all this stuff, I'd rather just be behind the camera and direct, but they're like, Scott needs to be in there too, you know? And I'm grateful for that, but, you know, I'm just here to help them and help out however we can for the fans. And we actually, the three of us, produced the reunion.
We did.
We did it ourselves. We funded it. We paid for it for the fans. And that was something that, honestly, it was just a really special thing to give back.
It was so special. It really was.
For them. And we did that out of our own hearts. And you know, we're grateful for you all.
So that's what you're doing in Light Productions. And Tanya, what are you up to now?
Well, like Darius was talking about, after we ended the show, you know, being a child actress is an emotional roller coaster at times, and I continued acting till I was about 22 years old. I'll let y'all guess how old I am now. Please be kind. And then I took a break because I needed to. I needed to find out who Natanya was and you know, get that sorted out. And now I started acting again a couple years ago, and yeah, I just woke up one day and it was calling for me, and you know, it lives inside of me, being an entertainer and an artist and an actor and all of that. And so yeah, I just started acting again a couple years ago, so I'm back now, and all of this came about, and I'll tell you that this character of Robin Russo means as much to me as it means to all of the fans. I understand her so much more now as an adult, so the opportunity to go back and play this role again would mean so much, you know. Yeah. So when all of this came about, I was pretty mind blown by everything. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Now, Darius, I heard. Yeah, give it up. I heard that you were taken under your wing by Magic Johnson.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Magic Johnson as a kid, what happened here?
So Magic Johnson, obviously, my aunt was an interior designer. And she did like Eddie Murphy, Shaq, Denzel Washington's homes. And I used to go with her to do installations. And I realized that richness is a mentality, not a material. Ooh. Because my aunt didn't have quite as deep as the pocketbooks as her clients did, but she was designing their homes. And so what that did was it sparked a very deep feeling inside of me to want to reinvent and find out who I was outside of acting. So I started doing lunch breaks when everybody was playing Super Nintendo. I petitioned in my 3rd year contract to have a fax machine and an office desk and a production.
What?
And I would go every lunch and I would fax a street promotion proposal to every record label. And one day, a gentleman by the name of Hakeem Jaheem Jamal calls me from Columbia Records. He goes, "Is this Darius Love?" I go, "Yeah." "Well, who's this?" He goes, "Hakeem Jaheem Jamal." I say, "Hakeem Jaheem who?" He goes, "I'm calling from Columbia Records, and I just want to say, stop sending me those proposals through my fax machine, and I want to meet the most persistent person ever." I go to his office. Long story short, I get there. His assistant goes, "Who are you?" I go, "I'm Darius Love. I have a 3 o'clock with Hakeem Jaheem Jamal." She goes, "But you're a kid." I go, "And?" He overhears this. He goes, "You're Darius Love?" He goes, "Yeah." "Shouldn't you be in school?" I go, "Look, man, I got to get back to work." He goes, "What? You got a job?" I said, "Yeah, and I drove myself here." I said, "Look, are we meeting or not?" He goes, hold on. You got a car, you're here, you got a job, you don't go to school?" I said, "Listen, let's make this meeting very short." I said, "Who do you market and promote to?" I said, "What's your age demographics?" He said, 16 to 24. I said, "Kids." I said, "Who better to market and promote than to the demographic you're selling to?" He says, "You know what? You're hired." From that point on, I had 11 different guys in different high schools that were making $1,000 to $2,000 a month, passing out CDs and putting up stickers at pep rallies. That then led into producing concerts. I threw the first Wake Up Show tour with Sway and Tech. Jay-Z, before he had his first platinum plaque, Wu-Tang Clan, Gang Starr, were all part of this 40-city tour that I helped fund. I took my Alex Mack money after helping move my family out of Watts, and I invested in this concert. And Magic Johnson heard about this through my aunt. My aunt said, "I'm worried about my nephew. He's got all his money. He's helping his family. He's throwing concerts, and he's a kid." I'm 17 years old. I would go to adults and I'll say, "Where's my money?" And they would say, "Oh, we broke even," and they would pretty much, stiff me. But so Magic got behind me to protect me. Long story short, one day I go to Magic, he goes, "What are you doing next, kid?" I go, "I'm opening up a coffee house." This was in '94. I opened up my first business. It was called the Nile River Coffee House. And it was because my father had a mural from God's perspective of what the Egyptian civilization and culture looked like. And the Nile River was the first form of distribution where all of your trade markets of exchange of goods, commerce had originated from. And so we created the Nile River Coffee House. Long story short, I went to Magic. I said, I need 7 computers. He goes, 7 computers? You want me to buy these computers? I said, no, you taught me that before I go into meetings, know everything about a person. I went through your research and development. You have, in your R&D, you have a company called Breakaway Technologies, and you provide computers for minority businesses and 501(c)(3)s. I'm both. Can I have my computers? He goes, yeah, let me make a phone call. Next thing you know, I leave with 7 computers. He goes, well, what are you gonna do with these computers? I said, I'm gonna put them in my coffee house because in the future, people are gonna have a cup of tea and coffee and talk to each other on the internet. This was when it was called the information highway. He then comes back to me and goes, kid, you know what? You're right about that coffee thing. He says, guess what? I'm in the coffee business. My partner's name's Howard Schultz. Starbucks. I said, hey, you're my business manager. You're supposed to tell me to invest in this. I could be a millionaire like you now. He goes, man, you kid, you're gonna go somewhere. So I became an entrepreneur.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And to this day now, I'm still in humanitarian and philanthropy work. We have a product called BioFocus. I just left New York with Rosario Dawson, who's a spokesperson and a partner in a company that we are now helping get rid of the overprescribed drugs for people with ADD. We know the big A word, we know the big R word, I can't say it, but we are the only natural, healthy alternative that has a double-blind test by the Cleveland Clinic that proves that our WGCP and our company and product called BioFocus is the only superfood that is helping with glucose control and the healthy alternative to the A word and the R word.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
Do you find yourself thinking like, who is this guy from Watts?
Yes.
Is this learning from like on the school set? This is not public school learning.
Well, you know,
I'm like,
It wasn't on the set learning either, because
No.
Jason and I didn't get any of this.
it's just the passion of being able to understand that when you have an opportunity, and more importantly, when you go after purpose versus perception. I got tired of playing the gangbanger, drug dealer, black guy roles. After playing Raymond Alvarado, I was like, I'm not gonna do these roles. So I had to figure out a way to reinvent myself and sustain myself at the same time, still act. So at the time I got offered to play Tupac, I had a production company, Bigger Picture Productions. I created the making of me becoming Tupac, and I streamed that on YouTube and ended up creating the Truth About Tupac website, which now has 100 million views and 1 million subscribers, which I didn't even play the role.
weren't you also the image of Tupac at Coachella when they did the whole?
I did the voice for Coachella. I did the
Yeah.
voice for Straight Outta Compton for Tupac. So I actually had the role to play him, but it fell out of litigation and lawsuits so many times. I started growing gray hair, not just hair in weird places, but gray hair now. And I got too old for the role. But I served and did well in helping get his legacy to the point where 100 million people wanted to see this movie. They knew what they wanted to see by following the making of me as an actor, and they would tell us what they wanted to see in the film. And I took that to the producers of the film and used that as a way of turning the consumer into a producer, and more importantly, discovered the actor that played it. Demetrius Shipp was discovered through my platform with my partner Asher Underwood and Tupac's manager Layla Steinberg. We discovered him on The Truth About Tupac, the actor that played Tupac. So to be selfless and help to spawn another person's career and help Tupac's legacy and be selfless was a great feeling for me because I did my part.
Yeah.
You know, and people know it. You know, they're like, you should have played Tupac. I'm like, no, I did what I was supposed to do.
Right.
You know?
So, So, I guess child stardom was a pretty good thing for you guys because it allowed you to do a lot of things in adulthood. What was some of the pros and cons of being a teenage star?
Some of the pros and cons. Well, some of the pros are lifelong friendships with these guys that are my brothers to this day. Some of the cons are, growing up on television, living your life out loud, making mistakes that everyone can see.
Did you ever get like perks when you like go to like theme parks and they like take you to the front of the line?
Oh,
and then people, did you ever get embarrassed by that?
You know
No,
about
never.
that.
Yeah, right?
Never embarrassed.
You know,
They-
embarrassed?
they
The people were
shut
like, you
down.
ain't special.
No.
And you're like,
Right.
were you thinking I'm not special? Were you thinking special enough to get ahead of you?
No,
You
they
know?
actually shut down Magic Mountain for us. So we didn't have to deal with any
The whole
of that.
park?
The
Yeah.
whole park.
For
yeah.
like 8 people?
The whole cast.
The whole cast and crew, but
Yeah.
they shut it
Okay,
down.
that's a big park.
Yeah.
What's the whole
Yeah.
cast and crew? Maybe 25 people?
Maybe about 50.
50?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It
Okay.
was our rap party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rap parties. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, my perk was Jessica Alba got to kiss me, right?
It don't get any better than that.
Yeah.
It don't get any better than that.
And because she was so sweet and her parents were so sweet. So yeah, a lot of the perks were that we kind of were set on, different courses that we knew we wanted to get there and
Yeah.
be. I remember my first film school, I was, 14 years old, flying out to Italy and being on the set of Cliffhanger, watching Sylvester Stallone, watching, Michael Rooker, watching, these guys, Leon Lindley. I love Leon. Leon was amazing in that as well. Do their thing. And I got a chance to, Sylvester Stallone's son, Sage, was a really great friend of mine growing up. And I really contribute a lot of my success and things that I learned from the Stallones, who brought me in and were really gracious to me. And were amazing people. And I got a chance to go on his sets. And we would go for 1 week, we'd be with the directors. The other week, we'd be with the cinematographers. The second week, we'd be with the, editors. Back then, they used to cut it linear, by hand. They would cut that. So there was just a lot that we were able to be exposed to. And luckily, we're very grateful. We didn't, go that route of drugs or anything weird and anything crazy. We were able to find Christ in our lives and share that gospel and share that message with others and help people along their journey too. And that's what now we're about, is helping the new generation up and helping them to realize that you can hit those dreams and goals. Just put that faith first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
I just want to say real quick too, because I think it's important to share about, and we have a platform here to share about it too, is that I actually did hit some dark times, after my career, after I stopped acting, and I did get involved in some darker things in life. And I'm sober now. I'm 5 years sober. Thank you. Yeah. And I say that because we live in a very different world today than when we were kids, and what goes on today is so different than what I was involved with even back then. And I know how much turmoil and darkness I went through just, getting through that and figuring out who I was as a person. So I want to just say that, because if there's people that are struggling, especially young actors that are in the limelight like we were, that there is a way out and there's so much hope, and you don't have to live like that, and you can find the light at the end of the tunnel too. So I want to say that, yes.
Well, guys, we're kind of out of time, but when the reboot goes back, will you come back? When you get something that running?
We want you to be on the new show.
You do.
What? Yes. What do I sign? Well, I'll be on the show. What would I do? Do you have a part?
Raymond Alvarado's relative.
Of course. The only black man on the show, and I get to be the relative to the black man. That's the best we can come up with in 2018.
I mean, you could maybe play a singer. I don't know. What do you think?
right?
That might work.
Yes. And I've known Delius, actually. Delius and I are really great friends, and so I really want to thank you for having us on your show.
Absolutely.
I've actually, I've known Delius for a little over probably 8 years now, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life, and I'm so proud of you and what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
And honestly,
and we have to say too, we are huge fans of yours
Yes.
as well.
Oh, thank
so
you.
this means so much. This means so much.
I swear.
I swear.
I swear we're huge fans.
Love that song. Love that.
All right, you guys, put your hands together for the cast.
Thank you.
Good job, you guys.
We are the cast of Alex Mack, and you are watching Flashback tonight. Please subscribe to the channel.
Do it, brothers. Love you guys.